What's up, everybody? Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. Jacob Seus, Jonathan Acosta. It's crazy to believe, but it is the last Arkansas regular season game. Like you just said, the Texas game feels like it wasn't that long ago, but here we are, Arkansas, Mizzou. And listen, it's year 7 of the Battle Line rivalry, maybe? Year 7, year 8? People are still saying this isn't a rivalry. From what I've seen on social media and from what I've seen between the two teams this week, it's a rivalry. These two teams don't like each other.
Right, and maybe it's not the biggest rivalry.
Right.
For Arkansas, you have Texas, you have LSU, but every year that you play a game, I feel like the rivalry certainly grows. There's certainly the aspect of being bordering states and everything. So yeah, when you play every year at the end of the season, I think the rivalry is certain to grow. And especially since Arkansas hasn't beaten Mizzou in a few years, I think they're really itching to get this one today.
Yeah, this could actually be the first year ever that Arkansas wins the Southwest Classic against A&M, the boot against LSU, and now the Battle Line rivalry against Mizzou. But on the Mizzou side, it's a team that has really struggled all week long until the last 3 weeks. Mizzou comes into this one on a 3-game SEC win streak, but when you look at that win streak, it's against Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and a struggling Florida team. So, they're not going out here beating Alabama and Texas A&M, but it's a team that has come alive a bit in recent weeks.
Right, and if you're Arkansas, you always want to take Mizzou seriously and everything, but you mentioned the teams that they've beaten: Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and then a Florida team that just fired their head coach. So if you're Arkansas, you probably still feel good about your chances, especially because I think this is a good matchup for Arkansas. Sometimes there's certain weeks that you're like, each team will try to do their own thing, and we'll see who comes out on top. This is a week where Arkansas' strengths really match up well with Mizzou's weaknesses, which is their defense, specifically their rush defense. Arkansas is one of the best rushing offenses in the country, while Mizzou has the worst rush defense in the SEC and the 125th ranked rush defense in the country. So this is a game where don't be shocked if you see KJ Jefferson run the rock 10 to 15 times, Dominique Johnson, Rocket Sanders, all of them get involved in trying to pound that ball against the Mizzou defense.
Yeah, this could be a really big day for the Arkansas offense, who are coming off a game that they lost. You were there in Tuscaloosa, but Sam Pittman will say there's no moral victories in SEC football, but it's as much of a moral victory as you can have, only losing by a point to Alabama. And with this win, Arkansas can finish with 8 wins in the regular season for the first time in a long time.
Right, and Sam Pittman after that Alabama game said that gone are the days where this team is getting kicked in the teeth. And I think this might be a game where they kind of respond, maybe a little bit angry that they lost a game that would have been a huge victory for them, and then they're the ones coming out and kicking Mizzou in the teeth. We mentioned the advantages that they have in the run game. And like you said, an 8-win season is just so much better than a 7-5 season. It's so a big difference between going 7-5, 8-4. If you're an Arkansas fan, you feel like you've definitely had a better season than Mizzou. But if Mizzou wins this game, they end up with the same regular season record as Arkansas. So I think there's a lot of small factors that go into Arkansas kind of coming out energized. Final home game, a chance to honor all these seniors and send them out on a high note.
Yeah, senior day, and a lot of big names are going to see today at Razorback Stadium for the final time. One of them, Grant Morgan, who obviously came onto the scene last year and has been phenomenal for the Arkansas defense. Junior Traylon Burks, he's without a doubt going to leave for the NFL after this year, projected first-round pick, and today's more than likely the last time you're going to see Burks at Razorback Stadium.
For sure, and he has a chance to do something really special. He's done a lot of special things in his career, but with just 25 yards today, he has a chance to become the 4th Razorback receiver ever with a 1,000-yard receiving season. He's already going to go down as one of the best wide receivers in program history. That would just cement it, and based off the way we saw him perform against Alabama, dinged up and everything, still goes out and has a monster game, 170-something yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he's itching to kind of replicate that in his final game on the Hill today.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know where you guys are watching the game from today. If you're headed down to Fayetteville, watching it somewhere else, what your score prediction is going to be. Last regular season game for Arkansas. We talked all week about the return of Eli Drinkwitz, the return of Brian Bannister, Akil Byers, but one thing that hasn't really been discussed on the other side, you have Markel Utze and Trey Williams on that Arkansas defense who are playing against a Missouri team that they were on for the last couple of years. I would expect a big day from both of those guys trying to make a statement against their former squad.
And we mentioned the rivalry growing. Who's their defensive coordinator? Barry Odom, the former Mizzou head coach. So a lot of kind of little connections between the two schools and everything. Again, I think this is a growing rivalry. It'll probably continue to grow in years throughout. Arkansas really wants to beat this Mizzou team. They don't want to leave with the sour taste of their mouth, dropping a... They've been really good at home this year, apart from that loss against Auburn. They've won all their other home games, so you don't want to have a second loss to Mizzou in the final game of the regular season.
I know we've been talking bowl projections a lot. Where does Arkansas stand coming into this one as far as bowl projections go? Granted that they can leave Fayetteville today with that 8th win and finish the season 8-4.
Well, the latest bowl projection that I saw from the bowl season, the official Twitter account of bowl season, had them playing in the Music City Bowl against Penn State, Nashville, December 30th. That'd be a fantastic bowl game for Arkansas, a kind of a little bit shy of a blue blood, but a big-time program in Penn State from the Big Ten. In Nashville, a great place to play and visit. So I think that would be a bowl game that gets this fan base energized. But with Mississippi State losing yesterday, and if Arkansas can notch a win and maybe some other things go their way, they have the potential to play in a Florida Bowl game on New Year's, and that would be a huge step for this program and kind of something tangible that you can point to as, apart from the 8 wins, hey, in year 2 under Sam Pittman, they went and played on a New Year's Day bowl game in Florida, either the Outback Bowl or Citrus Bowl or something like that. That would be something that can really build momentum as Sam Pittman goes in the offseason and recruits and everything. That would be a huge step for Arkansas.
So if Arkansas is going to get that 8th win, finish 8-4, they're 14.5-point favorites today. So obviously the Vegas odds makers think Arkansas is going to win this game. But what do they need to do on the field to come away today with that 8th win?
So neither team actually turns the ball over all that much. I think combined between the two of them, they've only turned the ball over 19 times this season. So I think third down is going to be a key. If you can avoid Mizzou kind of having these long drives and kind of putting your offense in a rut and keeping them off the field, you can do well. Mizzou's offense is one of the best in the country at converting on third downs. I think 23rd in the country. But Arkansas's defense is actually the second best third down defense in the SEC. So that'll kind of be something we'll have to give in that one. And then, again, going back to the ground game, I don't think this is going to be a game where we see KJ Jefferson throw for 400 yards. I think if you're Sam Pittman and Kendall Briles, you want to run this ball down Mizzou's throat. Make them stop you because they haven't been able to stop anyone really running the ball all season. And it really shouldn't be the case against an Arkansas team that's one of the best running teams in the country. So if they run it down their throat, I think they have a good shot to not only win but cover that 14.5 number.
We actually saw the team just drove past us with their police escort. They're ready to head inside. So final predictions, I'm going to say 31-14 today in favor of Arkansas. In favor of Arkansas, they're going to win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I think that 37-21. I think Mizzou, they'll be able to put some points up on the board, but I think Arkansas's offense, they had a tough game against LSU, but other than that, they've been able to put up some numbers in some of these SEC games. Against Mississippi State, put up 30+. Obviously, we saw them against Alabama. And so I think they want to go off on a good note here at Razorback Stadium. I think they're going to give the fans a show tonight.
So the game is going to air, of course, right on Channel 5, and after the game, stick with us. You'll have the CBS postgame after that, and then Jonathan and I will be on the field breaking down the game. So turn your TV to Channel 5, and I don't think you need to change the channel all afternoon. But Jonathan Acosta, Jacob Seus, enjoy the game, guys. Last Arkansas game of the regular season, and we'll see you after.